All right. Sorry for the wind. We're going to try and keep our mics from catching too much wind right now. But I'm hanging out here with Brandon Nelson from the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, and we're doing a beach podcast because I'm beach camping this week, and he is the California director of the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. He lives here in San Diego, and I figured, Brandon, if we're going to do it, let's do it in SoCal style. Let's do it at the beach, dude.
Yeah, it's not a bad spot to podcast at all. Thanks for having me on.
Not a bad spot to podcast at all. So I've known Brandon now for probably 3 years or so. We've seen each other at shows locally. We talked a lot. I think he goes to archery shop as much, if not more than me. So I've seen him at the archery shop multiple times. Our local archery shop is kind of like a bar. You just go in there and hang out. You walk in for a pack of judo tips, and you're there for 4 hours just talking to everybody in there, and all your friends show up, so it's a good time.
Yeah. I stopped by and talked to those guys quite a bit. They actually support the organization quite a bit. They've donated a bow and time and targets and all kinds of stuff to the organization to fundraise with, and they're the great set of dudes over there. So they definitely take care of us as an organization for sure.
And whether people know it or not, like, we hunt elk in California. We have elk in California. We actually have all 3 species, which no other state could say, in California. We've got the Rockies, the Rosies, and the Tules here in California.
We do. Yeah.
We just don't get to hunt them as much as everybody else does.
Yeah, so that's currently they issue about 360-ish draw tags. And then you have the private land tags. You also have the share program tags, which share this year is about 85 tags. PLMs are a little bit different. That's definitely a pay-to-play situation. But they issue about 280, 290 tags there. So overall, we issue about 600 tags a year. We are the only Western state without an archery season. So, as an archer, you and I both talking about going to the bow shop. That's one thing we're really working on right now with Fish and Wildlife, is trying to get them to allot some archery tags. Just because our success rate's so high with the tags we do issue.
Yeah.
We're 60, 70% success rate across the state, which the closest state is Wyoming at like 47%. So we're trying to drop that down a little bit, get some archery tags out there, and maybe work through some of these points. Get lower the point creep down so we can actually get some more elk tags for everybody out there.
Just push it into your mouth. It's fine. You can leave it. There you go. There, yeah, that's pretty. There you go. You're good.
There we go.
You don't have to block with your hand. It's good. Sorry, we're trying to figure out a way to make the wind not sound in. So, yeah, and then our elk tags some of these units, like the units I put in for, they're like 100% success rate. It's like you're going to kill an elk if you draw this tag. If you don't kill an elk, something went really wrong. I know that I have a buddy that I just hunted with in Maui, and he's drawn the share tag twice now.
Yeah, so the share tag is just like a straight lottery ticket. So, you put in the 15 or 20 bucks or whatever it is for the ticket, and you draw it. And you draw it and you go on the hunt. All the way the share works is the landowner dictates, kind of how you hunt, what days you hunt. They kind of dictate everything. They will also dictate the weapon you use, right? So if they don't want you archery hunting, if they're not an archer, that they can require rifle only, and they can actually require calibers, all those things. And it doesn't cost any points. It doesn't do anything. The money raised from that goes into the big game fund, and a portion of that money actually goes into paying the landowner and compensating the landowner. So, yeah, it's not a bad program.
And that is one thing with our elk herd here is it is almost a pay-to-play sport, a rich man sport in California, which does suck. And we're selling Tule elk tags now for $50,000 plus, because you get landowner tags somewhere in New Mexico, and you could sell those tags. So, and the vast majority, we have some public land Tule elk, in like up in the Bishop area and stuff, Lone Pine area.
Yeah.
Literally live in the Tules.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of these elk are going to be like kind of like Central California, coastal. I don't know the word I'm thinking of. Like kind of a.
Yeah, almost like a plains.
King City kind of area, and they're going to be on private land, and you're going to have to basically buy a tag from these owners to go hunt these elk.
Yeah, so the lowest elk are actually Tehachapi area, so that's going to be Tejon Ranch. Those are actually going to be Rocky Mountain. When it comes to Tules, they're over in Owens Valley, so Bishop area. Most of that is actually public land. When you go over to the Central Coast, you're going to go kind of Paso Robles north.
That's what we're talking
Yeah,
about,
so
Paso Robles.
if you cut over Paso all the way across to like Bakersfield and go up, that's where all the Tules are at. From there north all the way up into San Jose, pretty far north. Majority of that area is going to be private property. There's some public land out there. It's hard to access because there's no necessarily parking or access points, but there is some public access out there with elk on it. So if you were to draw a tag in that area, you could go and hunt some of that public land. Fortunately or unfortunately, right, the private landowner, they have ponds, they have food, they have water, and so the elk definitely congregate to those places. But one of the places you can go to too, though, allows public hunting is Camp Roberts. So if you were to draw a tag in that area, you do have to take their hunting course, and they do charge a fee, a trespass fee. But you actually have so it's not a guide, but it's like an on-base representative that takes you around the base, because it is an active military base, and they don't want people just roaming around the base. So you have an on-base escort, I'll say, because if you say guide, they have to have a guide license. It's just an escort, and they escort you around. So it's just about like having a guide, except for it's an escort, and they escort you around, and you look at elk all day, and you pick the one you want. And there are some very large elk on Camp Roberts. So if you draw a Tule tag in that area, one of the best units to hunt is actually Fort Hunter Liggett, which is slightly north of there. Yep. Camp Roberts, their first elk hunt was last year.
Yeah.
So they got some big elk on there.
And then the other one we have is Grizzly Island, right? Is that what it is? Grizzly Island?
Grizzly Island, yep.
You could draw that tag as well.
Yep, good tag.
And that's like an August tag.
Yep.
Again, one of those units where it's just like pretty much a guaranteed kill if you get this tag.
Yep. Yeah, so Grizzly Island has one of the highest populations of elk for us. Grizzly Island's great hunting. They issue quite a few tags in Grizzly Island as well. So that, that's kind of awesome if you're hunting Tules. Me personally, I do archery, Fort Hunter Liggett, or that Camp Roberts area myself. I don't know much about Grizzly Island. I've had a couple of volunteers shoot some bulls in there. We also release elk into Grizzly Island from the preserve outside of Los Banos there. So, they're great. All of our elk are doing great. We're between 15 to 18,000 elk across the state of California, which is about the same population as what Nevada has.
Really?
So, and Nevada issues about 4,500 tags a year on their 17,000 elk, and we're only issuing 600.
Yeah, you're gonna kill a good bull if you know what you're doing.
Oh, for sure.
You draw this tag, and I only put in for the Tule hunts, and we do have some big Roosevelts. We actually had the record book Roosevelt come out of California last year.
Yep.
440 something inches rosy. It looks like freaking like a tree trunks coming off this thing, split off the top.
Yep.
And the guy's super quiet about it.
Yeah, he
just
is.
Killed it. I saw pictures of it behind the scenes. Some people sent me some pictures. You can't show anybody. But dude, it's a giant bull, and I think it's gonna be at some of the shows and stuff. If I'm not mistaken, I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm sure. At some point, someone's gonna pay him enough money to be able to take it and show it off, right? But hunting in California is really underrated, right? Because people we get a bad rap because they had the bear ban a couple years ago, but we have some of the best bear hunting. While it's harder because we can't bait or run dogs, we have huge bulls. Tejon Ranch is world renowned for shooting 400-inch bulls on their property, and they have 15 tags a year. They shoot 10 bulls out of there a year that are on average 400 plus inches.
Again, that's a rich man sport, though. That's like a $75,000 plus tag, right? Maybe more.
So tag $60,000-$65,000 just for the tag to hunt it, and then guide and tip and all that stuff. I think a guy last year shot a 436-inch bull. I think out the door it ended up costing about $80,000. So. And
if you can afford it, I'm not gonna knock it. For me, even if I could afford it, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Because
sure.
I just would have more enjoyment drawing that tag and getting out there and finding one on public land.
Yeah.
Now they have Tules on that property or Rockies?
It's all Rockies.
Rockies.
It was actually a population of Rockies that were brought in from Wyoming as a private herd. There was a fire. They let them go. and they have since, grown to where they're actually off the ranch now. So 220,000 acres. They're not on the ranch. They're actually also in Tehachapi, which is a public draw tag now. So you can draw a tag. The problem is that unit is 95%, private property. So you're paying a trespass fee, but they're actually making it all the way over to like Lake Isabel. So there's some really big Rockies running around down there. There's some private land, BLM, you can get to. But in terms of the Tules, it's mainly the Owens Valley, which they always kill big bulls out there. And then obviously the Central Coast over there. And, it's pretty checkered, so it's hard to find that public land. But the military bases are a good way to get on and shoot some bulls and get that opportunity, as well as all those bases have pigs and other things. So if you're up there, grab that pig validation for 2025. We have that new validation where you just have to buy it once and you can go shoot a bunch of pigs, and so it's not too bad.
Yeah, man, I put in for it every year. I think I got like 12 points now in California for elk, and I put in every year. I have one tag that I put in for, I'm not going to mention it, but it's a random. Even with points, he doesn't take points, but it's a tag that if you put in for it, because it's only one tag. If there's only one tag, it'll be a random. No matter what, there's always a random in our draws. Yep. So I kind of play the game a little differently for that, just because it's a long game to draw a tag here. Yeah. I could draw a Roosevelt tag. Yep. Which would be fun. I really want that Tule elk because eventually, I'm not like a big slam guy, but living here in California, I kind of want to kill the Rosie. Yeah, and my experience with the elk too has always been I don't really hunt pigs that much anymore, but when I used to hunt pigs up there, Paso Robles, I would see the elk on the properties, right? Yep. So they do pig hunts year round, but then they run elk right now. Like my buddy who I was just over in Hawaii with, Conservative Game Management, shout out. He's got 15,000 acres that his family owns, and I think he has a total 60,000 acres, and they've got a ton of elk, and they're running those hunts right now, and they're selling out 2 years in advance for those hunts because everybody wants to come here and get that Tule, man, and come out here and get their, a lot of guys want to do it with archery too, and get that art because they want to get their Grand Slam archery, and so they're doing it. People are doing it, man. Yeah, Chase
sells them out every year. You know what I mean? I've talked to him about it, and he and I have actually talked a lot about elk counts and things like that on his property, just because the way the elk tag situation works is we have to have accurate counts. So that's one thing we've really been working on, is trying to figure out how to work with Fish and Game and get them to actually accept counts and actually increase, the number of elk on the landscape. Because once we actually have an accurate count of elk, we can actually figure out how many tags to issue, or we can issue more tags. The elk management plan. It was a 10-year plan, started in 2018. It goes to 2028. So once 2028 hits, they're going to have to redo the plan again. Once they redo that plan, one thing that we're really working on with Fish and Game as an organization is getting them to actually get better counts and more accurate counts. Kind of like the bears, right? They said, there's 25 to 30,000 bears. When they do the counts, it's there's 60 to 80,000 bears now.
Yeah, there's bears everywhere. I'm going to hunt bears this year. Probably Thanksgiving time. I'm going to go up north and hunt bears because we have great bear hunting. I'm going to go out there and just go spot and stalk bear hunt and have a good time. And we get bad rap for hunting over here, but the bears are awesome. Our deer are small. I'm not going to lie. We have small deer. They're not full-size mule deer like we have, across. Even our best units. You shoot a 160. You're pretty stoked. 180. Yeah. You're not going to shoot a 200-inch buck in California. No. But we do have bears everywhere. Be fun to go do those guys for sure. Yeah,
and the nice thing, and that's the thing. So for us is, now that they're counting the bears, now we know how many bears there are, right? And that's the next thing with elk is when they redo this plan, we want to recount the elk because we probably have the highest calving rate and the highest, survivability rate out of any state because we don't have harsh winters, especially on the Tules, right? The Tules they're almost, they're out in the wide open. They don't have a lot of predators. Up north, we're starting to get some wolves into California.
For now, dude, because they are going to be bussing those wolves in when they get the chance.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is we already have there's already an understanding from Fish and Game, and they've admitted that we have multiple packs in Northern California.
Yep.
So, obviously as they move down, I don't think there needs to be there'll be a push to reintroduce them, right? Because they're already introduced, they're already here. Yeah. With the packs already expanding so much in Idaho and Oregon and all these other states and even Nevada, they're coming down into California no matter what. So at some point we'll have them, unfortunately, as of right now, there's no management plan because they are protected.
There will never be a management plan in California for wolves.
Yeah, so
never.
It'll be a tough one, kind of like trying to reverse Prop 117 with the mountain lions, right? Like that's going to be nearly impossible. But at some point, obviously, we have a mountain lion problem, right? So hopefully that'll eventually come up at some point. And fortunately or unfortunately, the current governor, his father's the one that put that in place. So he would veto anything that came up. So, I don't know when he's up for re-election, but whenever that changes, that hopefully the next person doesn't have the same hold on mountain lions as he does, and maybe we could try and revisit that. And people, very much like CRWM right now in Colorado, right, is we actually have to educate people in the right way, right? And I was kind of talking to someone the other day about this. Is as hunters, we got to come together on any and every hunting we can, whether we hunt them or not. Because I'm just I'm a bird hunter, or I'm an elk hunter, and I don't care about birds or whatever. I don't hunt predators. The thing is, the predators are going to take all the hunting away for us, if they're not managed. And these other organizations, they get money from everywhere for anything, like, oh, save this animal, save that animal, and they lie and they don't tell the truth about it. But in reality, none of them are doing conservation work like what we do. We've put over $1 billion on the landscape, conserving elk and habitat and other wildlife across the country. We've reintroduced elk into Kentucky and Virginia. We're constantly actually doing conservation work for wildlife, and the predators benefit as well. When we put in guzzlers and things like that, all of the wildlife are benefiting from what we do. So we gotta work on that. We gotta work on managing mountain lions and bobcats, and I think next year bobcats are actually up for review to rehunt them again, hopefully here in California. So
we'll see how that goes. I don't have high hopes for that. I can tell you that when they had that freaking, I don't know, I don't want to turn this into Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation Bash and Politics podcast. I know you guys got to work with these guys, but when I had that freaking libtards, they went up there and they were like, these are biologists, these are the paid state biologists, and they're saying, I've never seen a bobcat in the wild. Dude, I saw 6 on one hunt last year, in San Diego. There are so many bobcats. Mountain lions, I see more lions than I see deer on my game cameras now in San Diego. It's no joke, 1 lion for every square mile. If you got to run dogs here, you houndsmen would just have a heyday in California, because there are so many lions, and we're still killing 600 of them a year, because now we're having all kinds of attacks. They're going into neighborhoods. I mean, we're seeing them in how you guys see coyotes where you guys live, in your neighborhoods. We're seeing lions in our neighborhoods all the time now. It's a common thing, freaking in LA, in Hollywood, lions, because there's so many of them getting pushed out. We just have too many lions. They're not getting managed. And I was talking to my daughter about this the other day, and she's like, well, why would you shoot that? I was going to kill, there's a raccoon that's been eating my chickens, and I'm going to kill this raccoon. And she's like, well, you're not going to eat him, though. And I'm like, yeah, but he's killing my chickens. You have to manage. You can't just, not manage certain animals and manage other animals. You can't go and build houses across all of California, hunt the deer, hunt the elk, and then not hunt the predators, because you have to. It's an ecosystem. You have to manage the ecosystem, not just species. But again, we live in a state, and you're seeing it. Across the country, you're seeing Colorado repeat it right now. And my biggest warning to everybody is, once you lose it, you're probably not getting it back.
Yep.
Once you lose lion hunting, they're probably not going to come back and vote to bring it back in.
No. Yeah. That's the hardest thing, is to switch that back, right? It's same with us. 1990 Prop 117. It was to, they lied and said mountain lions were endangered, right? But they're the only predator that spans all of North and South America, right? They're not endangered, but in California they are. So that's a big issue we have. And then same thing with, Colorado. They're talking about trophy hunting. What I saw a fun fact today from Howell and CRWM that posted that, trophy hunting is already banned in Colorado. Yeah. It's kind of like bears, right? People are like, oh, you just shoot the bear and leave it there. That's trophy hunting. And it's no, actually in the state of California, you actually have to take the meat. Yeah. So there's waste not, want not laws in a lot of these states, and I'm guessing, most of the listeners, they already know these things, but it's the other side. It's when we talk to the other people, when we talk to these people that are out getting signatures, hey, did you know, that mountain lions aren't endangered? Trophy hunting isn't legal anyway. You can't just shoot something and leave it. mountain lion tastes great. Wolf tastes great. Like a lot of these animals that we're wanting to hunt and predators, you can eat them. You can cook them up and eat them. It's not a problem. And more people need to get involved and make sure that they step up on these things. And same thing. So the one with the bobcat thing, they got it stopped because there wasn't a management plan in place. And it's the same thing with the bears. They said there was no management plan in place, but luckily Fish and Game had been working on one. So now the new bear management plan's coming back. I think the new plan is going into place, I think, for next year of like revamping the hunting seasons and all of that. And so, if you're a hunter, you need to get on those calls and make your voice heard, because, there will be 300 people opposing any bear hunting at all on there. While fortunately right now our Wildlife Game Commission has been pretty on the spot with listening and trusting Fish and Game and the biologist recommendations on things. When it comes to the bobcats, that's one thing that I hope Fish and Game over the last couple of years since we lost bobcat hunting is coming back. Luckily they had kind of squeaked in the backside that it would be up for review in 25. So,
that went into effect, I think, in 21, right?
Yep.
21?
Yeah,
4 or 5-year deal?
I think so, yeah. So, as long as, they're doing their due diligence, Fish and Game, and they have a plan in place, bobcat hunting will come back. Granted, I don't know necessarily how you count bobcats. I know on the bears they did hair snares and things like that, so I don't know if they do the same thing for bobcat hunting.
Dude, it's just that they look cute. It's like they want to ban hunting across the board. They want to ban deer. They want to ban elk. They want everything in California. What California wants is a non-touch ecosystem, right?
Yep.
So we don't have we have very little guzzlers. We don't have drinking ponds. We don't do anything to like they just want nature to take its course. But they also want to build vast expanses of freaking solar panels and windmills and all this other freaking stupid stuff that's hammering the habitat. But we can't do anything to help animals because we want it to just be natural. We want to have wolves here and bears, and they want basically us to be Yellowstone, but with all the housing here. And it's not sustainable. And when it comes to cats, and it comes to bears, and it comes to dogs, because they want to ban coyote hunting too, they look like your animals you have at home, and they're cute, and everyone will get behind it. Be like, why do you got to kill that? It's just... Yeah, it's crap, man, and they're going to. They wanted to ban dove hunting.
Yeah, so
it's like.
So someone said this to me a long time ago, and I didn't think about it this way, but somebody said, well, if you go after the predators that people think are cute and cuddly because of Disney, right? Once the predator population gets so large that it decimates the elk and the deer and all the ungulates, right? Once it decimates their populations, they'll be so low that you can't hunt them. Because if someone came out right now and said, no more hunting elk, there'd be an outcry across the country, right? Every single hunter would be like, well, the only place to hunt Tules is California, right? So people would lose their minds, right? But here's the thing. If there's only 300 Tules left in the world, they're not going to let people hunt them, right? Yeah. And to do that, you let the predators go out of control. And then now all of a sudden, now that the predators are out of control, they're eating so many elk. The 300 Tules they're not going to live very long if there's lions, and wolves and all this stuff just decimating the herds. So someone said that to me a long time ago, and I was like, I never really thought about it that way, because if you let the predators go unmanaged, they will just consume until there's nothing left to consume. And then they starve and die. That's happening now in Yellowstone, right? The wolf packs are, dwindling, and they're starving because there's not enough elk anymore. So, that is one thing that, people really need to get, if it makes it to the ballot, you need to go vote and handle that like in Colorado right now. In California, you need to be writing, you need to get on HAL and take those actions and, send emails to Fish and Game demanding that they get a bobcat management plan in place. Because then at least we can hunt bobcats and coyotes at a minimum, right? And then from there, we can also hunt bears. Buy a bear tag, go out there, you see one, shoot one. Unfortunately in California you can't donate meat, but I'm sure there's plenty of people that would take some bear meat. I'll take it if you shoot it and you don't want it. But yeah, so I think that predator management's huge. Here in California we have so many bears, and looking forward to the new bear management plan to see how that comes out, and hopefully if they bring dogs back, I already am planning on becoming a houndsman.
Dude, they're never gonna bring dogs back, but if they brought dogs back, I would be a houndsman too. Like I would have kennels and do it, because I just went and ran pigs with dogs. I never want to hunt pigs with a bow or a rifle ever again. It was so fun. It was so fun. Oh my gosh. I thought, like, for sure, like, I was like, I don't know if I want to do it, stabbing a pig and throwing. Is that really my thing? Oh, dude. When it goes off, and the dogs are going, and they're baying, and the pigs are screaming. I'm going to put a video together for everyone to watch of just that part. Without a doubt, is going to get banned. Like, without a doubt, which I'm fine with. Like, I've been trying to get canceled since 2020. Like, I don't care. But, dude, like, you run in there, and there's freaking dogs flying everywhere. There's, like, multiple pigs. And there's piglets flying out of the bushes. And there's pigs trying to bite you, and the dogs are on them, and you're grabbing them, and you're freaking stabbing at the throat. Oh, man. I know I know this is not a good advertisement for houndsmen and bear hunting. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, man, like, that was the first time I ever running dogs. I never got to run lions or anything. We can't do any of that in California.
Yep.
Like, I definitely want to go run lions up in Montana. I have some friends over there that run dogs. Yep. I want to go run lions with them and do it, because it's just like a whole nother form of hunting that it was really enjoyable. Yeah. And obviously, like, lions are getting tackled by the dog, and bears are getting tackled. They're getting treed. Yep. But, man, it was just cool to see those dogs do. Like, like, they have, like, treeing dogs and, like, tackle dogs. Like, I don't know, like, once it turned on, those dogs were having the time of their lives.
Oh, yeah.
It was just, to see them, like, they were like, this is what I want to do.
Yep. Yeah, when you watch a working dog work, it's awesome. Yeah, and the other thing, like, pigs and pig hunting that way is very different. When it comes, like you had said, bears and mountain lions, you tree them. And, like, what a lot of people don't realize is actually you tree the animal, and then you can identify their gender. You can identify if they're big enough. Whereas right now,
tag it. A lot of guys don't even shoot them.
Yeah, a lot of guys just tree them. Like, it's not mature enough. It's not this. It's not that. Like, let's let that lion go out, or that bear go out and increase the population. So the thing with treeing and baiting, what a lot of the other side doesn't realize is it's actually an identification. Whereas now, you go out in California, since it's spot and stalk, a lot of people are out there walking, and it's an opportunity tag. The first bear they see, they just shoot it. It might only be 100 pounds. Yeah. While we have 500-pound bears running around, they don't see that 500-pound bear, because those ones are smart. They've been around the block for a while. They know what hunters look like, and so the method of treeing a bear, treeing a lion, or baiting it's for identification. So you're taking out an older male bear instead of taking out a female, or taking out a 2-year-old cub that's only 100 pounds or 75 pounds. So a lot of people don't realize that it's actually better to have those methods, whether it's baiting and or treeing. So yeah,
I don't discriminate against anybody, man. Like, if that's how you hunt them, and like they did that in Hawaii, I wanted to experience and do it, and like they had time of their life doing it. It was like the most, like, it was almost like getting into a fist fight with your buddies. Like, it was like, when you come out, you're like, yeah, you're high-fiving, because, like, you just went into, like, I don't want to say you went into war, but, like, you go into, like, you're going into a ditch, and this pig's trying to get you. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And, like, I just spent, like, 3 weekends in Texas, and they hunt so different. Like, it's almost like you look at it, and you're like, how is this even, like, you're driving in trucks, and you're shooting deer, and you have bait feeders, and all this stuff, and you have these blinds, and I want to understand that more, because they love hunting just as much as anyone else. So I'm actually going to go out there and spend a week with some of those guys. I met a guy who has a ranch. Invited me out to the ranch in December to come out and just understand that's how I'm hunting, because it's still hunting. It's still camaraderie. It's still being with your family. It's still doing it. It's much different than how I would, like, what I like to do, right? Like, what I like to do is be miserable and get rained on and not kill things. What they like to do is kill animals. I mean, they're 100%. I mean, I actually had a guy on who runs a high fence, and had to talk about the process. And it's a 365 job to do that.
Oh, yeah.
To get that thing done. It's not like, it's not like farm animals, but it's definitely, there's a process to getting it and getting the right animals, and genetics, and doing it. Like, they know, they love their animals, and it's hard to knock that,
Yeah, and it's funny is in Texas, I saw a fact the other day, the most white-tailed deer in the country is killed in Texas.
Oh, I'm sure.
and the thing is you know, a lot of people don't realize that, you know, white-tailed deer will clear out like a football field size of corn in a night. Like they are eating machines. You know, they eat and they breed and they repeat. You know, and that's what they do. And if you don't manage them, they will be out of control. So, you know, the way they hunt in Texas, you know, with baiting also, you're managing the herd, right? You're looking at, oh, that's a younger buck. He's going to grow up and, you know, potentially be, you know, going to make all of the deer better. You know, oh, there's a cull buck. It has weird antlers or it has bad genetics. They're removing those ones out because they can. They may never have saw that if they didn't bait.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, so, you know, a lot of those operations, they have it really down and they know what they're doing and they make things happen. So, you know, and, you know, we as an organization aren't huge on high fence, but, you know, those guys, they have a place, right? And people, you know, they kind of like here in California, I know they just got rid of it, but, you know, like people with, you know, disabilities and, you know, mobility impaired people can go to those places and they get to hunt and stuff. Whereas, you know, going in the backcountry, like you and I have talked about, that's hard. You know, it's hard. It sucks. You're going out there, you're hiking miles and getting rained on, you know, and you get out there and you do some of those things and it's awesome. But, you know, there's a place for everybody. I mean, there's a place for all the hunting. So,
and that's one thing I really appreciate about Tricer is, like, I'm getting to travel a little more, and, like, I'm actually building tripods specific for Texas now.
Yeah.
Like, it's called the Tricer HK. It's coming out. It'll be out prototypes in December, everybody. It's
awesome.
Freaking bad to the bone. Like, I'm not, you know, let's put it this way. I don't want to mention a company's name, but there's another company out there that makes some hunting tripods that are really heavy, and they're like the king of Texas, and you're about to get jacked up by some really nice Western style shooting tripods. Because I tell you what, I was in Texas and we didn't sell nowhere near what I wanted to sell because they're like, put your binoculars on a tripod. What? What do you mean put your binoculars on a tripod? What? You know,
put
like
my gun on a tripod.
Yeah, the only thing use a tripod for is sitting in a blind with their gun on it. Like, why would I do that? You know?
Yeah.
That's my worst Texas accent too. Like, I had a blast down there. Like, I have some good friends down there. I'm going to be going back again, like I said, in December to hunt with them.
Yep.
But like, it's a whole other style of hunting, right? And like, I want to understand how they hunt on the East Coast as well. And like, kind of like, how can I facilitate and make things to make them better hunters?
Yep. Because
I respect how they do it. They've been doing it for hundreds of years, and we want to support them.
Yeah, even Midwest, right? Like a lot of tree stand. You know, that's where I got my start hunting was actually out in Kansas, shooting whitetails out of a tree stand. You know, it was more of like almost like a, you know, like a hut in a tree. You know, they literally cut the trees, build a wooden box. You know, and but yeah, you sit there and you got a heater inside and you wait for the deer to walk out, and they walk out. Like, oh, there's one. All right, you know, so. You know, everybody has their different hunting, and you know, the West is, you know, light and fast, right? That's what you're looking for. You mean the Tricer AD, and I have one of those myself. And
my company's motto is fast, light, simple.
Yeah, exactly.
And back there, they're like exorbitant, fancy, bougie. You know.
Exactly. Yeah, and
it's cool.
Well, and when you put an expensive gun on there, right? You don't want it to fall off. You know, you're
100%.
Like, oh. So yeah, but you know, I think that you know, there's a place for all the hunting, right? And we as hunters need to come together and, you know, support each other. Even if you're not going to go ever hunt a high fence, or you're never going to hunt to hone, that's fine. But hey, the people that are allowed to, let them hunt it. But you know, the other, I would say, you know, the anti-hunting side, they band together over anything and everything. You know, we as hunters just need to do the same thing. Hey, if you're a hunter, you're a hunter. You're a bird hunter, awesome. Glad you're shooting birds. Hey, you're a waterfowl hunter, that's great.
I mean, they're trying to ban dogs at all for hunting, for birds too. I mean, I've heard that one come out a couple of years. Like, you want to ban like you're torturing your lab by taking him out to go do what he was bred to do.
Yep.
But if you leave him on it, you know, let him lay around your house, and that's not torturing him. You know, it's craziness. But yeah, man, I support it wherever I can. I think a lot of guys too. Like, even though I say like the private stuff isn't really my game, I still support it. A lot of guys who knock it are like, oh, private. Because you can't afford it. Like, I mean, let's just be honest. Like, I'm telling you right now, like, if someone was like, hey, Drew, I've got 40,000 acres of private land in Colorado. You want to come hunt it? All day long, I'll be in there. 'Cause I'm going to Colorado next week to public land. Going to spend 10 to 14 days over there chasing elk. Probably not killing elk because it's a 7% success rate. And I'll guarantee you, when I'm looking at those elk on that private ranch we'll be hunting next to, looking into, I'm sure, or a few of my pins, I would probably give my left nut to get on that ranch and kill an elk on day 8 when I'm just freaking miserable and wish I can get down there. So like, don't knock it. It's people. If people have the money to do it, do it. And money goes back into hunting. We need to do it.
It does, and that's the thing. Like I go knock on doors for turkey. I hunt private land for turkey. Fortunately, I have a landowner knocked on the door. Buddy and I, and we, hey, can we? Would you mind if I hunt the turkeys? Like, no problem. You can actually hunt on the back of the property. We hunt for turkeys every year, and we kill. This year we killed 5 birds on there over like
really
3-4 days. Birds everywhere. It's great.
I actually don't hunt in San Diego for turkeys because it's like if you're hunting public land, it's like probably harder to kill a turkey than an elk.
Oh, for sure.
It's so hard. It's so hard.
I'm hunting up north.
You can do it.
So I am hunting private property up north.
Okay. Much better.
I did hunt up in Julian this year. A private landowner knocked on his door. This is the 3rd year hunting it, and I shot a bird this year with my bow at like 60. It was the last day of the season for me, and I got lucky. But yeah, so I mean, I prefer up north just because the amount of turkeys, but it's a lot of people too, and it's very common, I would say, in the Midwest and on the East to knock on doors and ask for permission. In the West, it's a little bit more taboo, but I mean, I'll go knock on people's. Hey, can I go shoot? Would you mind if I hunt? For that deer or that turkey, or not elk quite yet, but I'll go ask people if I can hunt on their property, and a lot of times I get a no, more often than not. But hey, every now and then, if you get that yes, you're lucky. You can hunt them.
Yeah. In my mind, the springtime for me is for hunting like predators. I love hunting coyotes.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden we started doing bears this year as well in the spring.
Yep.
Do you think you're saying this the bear plans up for when's it coming up again?
So the new rules. So the bear number is out. So they're talking about it through this cycle into next year.
So are we talking about spring bear hunting?
So on the docket is spring bear.
Oh gosh,
it wouldn't be for next year.
Rad.
It'd be for. So it's 24-25. They're talking about it. So the regulation would be like next June would be the finalized new bear plan going into 25-26. So spring bear is on the docket. They talked about spring bear. They've talked about doing multiple zones. So they're going to actually do zones throughout California instead of it being a statewide thing. So there's zones, and then certain zones, because of the population density, they're going to issue like multiple tags. So you can get 2 tags instead of 1. And then people have talked about, baiting and dogs it's on the list. Obviously, we got to see how that works out. I don't remember how dogs got taken away. If it was a game commission thing, or if it was I don't think it was a vote. But all of that is going to be talked about through this next, like cycle of
so potentially
plans.
In 2026, I could spring bear hunt.
Yes.
Man, that would be if they did that, I would be shocked.
Yep.
But man, that would be so cool to have a spring bear season in California. I know they just took spring bear away in Oregon.
They did.
So I don't know that we're going to do that. I mean, we really don't lead in any kind of thing like that. But if we got spring bear here, that would be just rad, man.
Yeah, it's interesting because like the Game Commission, fortunately, really is following what the biologists at Fish and Wildlife say. So as long as everyone at Fish and Wildlife is on board with that, and they think that that's the best method of management, I don't see the Game Commission voting the opposite direction.
Gotcha.
So that's one thing I'm optimistic about, to see what they come up with on this new plan. And if we get spring bear, it's gonna be crazy in California.
It would be such a good hunt.
Oh, it would be. It'd be so crazy.
It'd be such a good hunt. Like it would be like that would be the time to hunt those dang things.
Oh, oh my God, yeah. And we have so many bears here. Like fall, it's a tough hunt. I'll be honest, but they bring back spring. Oh my God, the bears are out roaming around, and especially in the Sierras, they actually are coming out of hibernation. Some of the
because you're getting hibernating up in the snow. Like
I
would love the Sierras are the most beautiful place to hunt I've been to.
Yeah.
They're phenomenal. Deer populations are low. Bear populations are actually low on the eastern side, which is that side I like. But man, that'd be really cool.
They're not low in the campgrounds in Mammoth, though.
They're not low in the campgrounds in Mammoth. Yeah, if you can get around the campgrounds, some of those campgrounds, you are going to get some bears.
Yep.
And you can play that game. You can get in there and play that game up in Tahoe too. There's some spots
Yep.
where you can get around the campgrounds and kind of get above them and do it.
Yep.
Just watch what you do and
Yeah, make sure you got Onyx out and
be a
you're like,
little
where's the
sneaky,
line?
be a little sneaky about it because you get some freaking granola eater walking through and you're out there skinning a bear up. Oh my gosh, you're gonna be on every Facebook group in the world, but I don't care. Honestly, like I said, I've been trying to get canceled for the last 5 years and they still haven't canceled me yet.
Yeah. I shot a bear in San Gabriel Mountains, right outside LA. I packed that thing down. there was mixed reviews on the way down. Let me tell you. Yeah. I had one woman yelling at me, telling me not to shoot any more bears. I had one guy yelling at me, and then everyone else just wanted to take a picture. Like, can I just take a photo with your bear? And it was on my back, and they're like taking a selfie with the bear in my pack. I'm like, yeah, sure. So and also when I pack out, I generally talk to people. I'm like, hey, there's a ton of bears. They're not endangered. They taste great. I'm gonna eat the bear. And then they're like, really? I didn't know you could do that.
People are so naive in California to it. Like I go to I guess you call it a mega church. We have 3,000 members of our church, right? And I am the hunter. Like I mean, it's like that. I mean, there's a few guys I've gotten into hunting there, but like I am the hunter. Like it's so taboo to hunt here. Like there's only spots in San Diego, like where I drive on the freeway, I see deer every day, and people have never seen a deer in San Diego ever.
Yep.
They just know what they're looking for. There's deer everywhere. They just are just so naive to like, oh my gosh, there's deer here? Oh my gosh, there's bears here? The same guys who are like just slamming on their brakes when they see a doe on the side of the road, and, causing traffic jams and stuff.
Yep.
They just don't know.
Yeah, there's, and I think that's I would say that's very indicative in our license sales, right? So over the last 10 years, our youth hunting licenses in California have gone down by about 5,000 licenses. And I think that lends itself to the amount of adults that are not teaching their kids to hunt.
Yeah.
Right? And I would say through COVID, we've had a significant amount of adult onset hunters. Right, so the adult licenses.
I'm hoping kind of go down. I mean, I know I shouldn't hope this, but I hope they kind of go down so I get my freaking points back, dude. We're getting crept like crazy.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, for me, adult onset hunters, hey, the more hunters we have in the landscape, great. I'll be honest, I think you and I both are of the, we hike far enough that most people aren't hiking back where we're going. But I really think that a lot of people, in California are just so distant from their food. When I tell
100%.
people, the only thing in my freezer is wild game meat, they're like, no way. Really?
100%, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, here. And it's funny is I'll give people, I make little 1 pound, deer grind, and I'll give it to people all the time. My kid plays basketball. I give it to, people, hey, would you be interested in this? I'll give them some deer. Yeah. Give them some antelope, and I'm like, here, try this, and and the people that are willing to try, and they're like, oh, and I've gotten quite a few people into, trying to hunt and take them out, and I'll take them out 2 or 3 times, and after that they can go out on their own.
If they do, I only have 1 or 2 guys. Actually, I can say I only have 1 guy really that I've gotten into hunting who. My father-in-law does too. There's a few. Most guys, they want to take you to their spot so they can kill an animal, but they don't want to learn how to hunt, right?
Yep.
So I have friends who get really upset. So take me hunting. I'm like, no, I'm not taking you hunting. Why not? I'm like, because I don't want. I worked too hard to have you shoot my deer. In San Diego, the success rate's 6%.
Yeah.
Killing a deer here is pretty hard, and I don't want to take you to kill my deer.
Yeah. Or
take my kids. And on the kids point too, one thing that kind of sucks about California, I know I'm bashing California a lot, but whatever, we're talking.
We're good.
They freaking cut the youth on at 15.
Yeah.
So youth hunters cut off at 15, not 18 here. So that sucks, man. They should give us these opportunities up until 18. So man, I should just we should get Tricer so big that I actually have a big influence, and I could go and run.
I thought it was 17. Did they just change it?
It's 15, dude. So your points,
wow.
You only get up to 3 points for your draw. After that 3 bonus points, you're out of the youth draws. So at 15 or 16, you're out. So 15 is the cutoff. So basically, you start hunting at 12. So you can start building points. You can basically only get 3 points as max points for kids for youth hunts.
Oh my goodness.
So talk about RMEF. Get in there and talk about that, man. You want to get more kids hunting? Why is it only 15? Actually, I should freaking tell me when you want. I should go fly up there and do it one time. I have the time to do it now.
So low hanging fruit. That's one thing with the archery tags. One thing that we had talked about is the lack of youth deer tags, lack of youth elk tags. There's 0 youth sheep tags. Those are some hard hunts, but we're talking about, hey guys, like let's look at opening up more deer youth stuff. Being that we're down many
they have
licenses.
to buy an adult license at 16.
Yeah, which is crazy.
This is the only thing I've heard of them to do that. You have to buy an adult license for your kid at 16. Now my kids have lifetime licenses, but at the same time, it's like that's jacked up. That's expensive. Yep. That's hard. Like they're having to go to the adult draw. Like you look at a state like Utah, where like my kid's hunting. I can't say what unit. He's hunting a really good unit this year. It takes 7 points for me to draw. It takes him 1.
Yep.
Like that's gonna get kids in the field,
100%.
right? And not to, I mean, no offense, California, but dude, I've got 5 kids, 4 boys. When they're 13, 14 years old, they are terrible shots. I mean, they're killing animals, but like they're still learning. You know what I mean? Like they're still like, just get them to 18. Like you can hunt up to 18 other states. Like you buy your license, you can hunt your youth tag. Like your last year's 18.
Yep.
Like that's low hanging fruit that you want to see more kids hunting. Like why shut them down at 15?
Yeah.
From these doe tags and these good elk buck tags and these good hunts out there.
Yeah, and that's, I will say that is one thing we're working on, and that's something that just came up recently when I was doing some licenses. And I'd heard another podcast, they talked about how, the number of hunters is up so high compared to, 10 years ago, which it's in California
it's going down.
It's going down,
Since COVID, like if you look at so this is maybe just California in general, but like it doesn't really transfer into all the states. If you go and go hunt, and you look at number of applications in 2020, it's going down from now like steeply.
Yep. Oh yeah.
These guys freaking locked us up so bad. It was so stupid. You couldn't walk into a 7-Eleven without a mask on, without someone flipping out on you.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, I like what Rogan says. Like the masks are like the left's MAGA hat. Like you still see people driving around their friggin' Priuses with masks down here. These freaking morons. But like they shut us down so that everyone wanted to hunt. Like bow sales through the roof, gun sales through the roof. And now it's all coming back around. Everyone's kind of like, oh, that's really hard.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially you go out in San Diego and try and hunt. You're like, oh, wow, this is like impossible.
Yep.
Adult onset, unless you have someone mentoring you, like it's really hard to figure this out.
It is.
Yeah,
but that's one thing, I noticed recently is actually, so overall adult licenses are about the same as they were 10 years ago. But youth licenses are down over 5,000 youth licenses. And part of that is opportunity, right?
And because
there's more opportunity.
16 knows when I get home.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
But now, I will say, before your child turns 10, at the age of 9, buy them a lifetime license. It's worth the investment, especially at 15. It's like $679. But so we're working on trying to talk to Fish and Game about making more deer opportunities for youth, more elk opportunities for youth. Especially in some of these conflict zones. We have 3 conflict zones in the state where there's an abundance of elk and human elk conflict. Issue 20 youth tags for each one of those. I mean, that'd be 60 extra tags just for kids, right? And now all of a sudden, more kids are like, oh, I want to go shoot an elk. Like, let's go.
Dude, people don't even know what elk looks like in California, so they'd be stoked. But, dude, I'll tell you right now, I have 5 kids. When you guys go, like, if you want me to come up and speak, do something, I'll fly up there and speak. Like, I'll go up there and I've been to SAC a bunch of times for my old company. I've done the Capitol met with all the congressmen and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if there's a commission you guys want to fly up to, I'll definitely fly up there and do it. Because I think that thing right there, like, I don't know why I'm getting so fired up about it right now, but, like, that's something we should change. We should change. Youth hunters should be, and I don't know who I got to talk to about that, but, like, it should be 18 years old. You should be able to run them. God, we have to give them insurance till they're 26, but they can't hunt deer at 16.
Yeah, it's now that I know that, I mean, actually, when we get off this podcast here in about 11 minutes, I actually have a Wild Game Commission meeting with Fish and Wildlife. It's a 4-hour meeting, starts at 1 o'clock today. And, we're talking about, various things within, Fish and Wildlife. But, now that the age is so crazy, it's really interesting is when you look at Fish and Game and how they actually write their regulations, they generally look at other states and they compare how states around the state that they're working on, and then they actually adopt their stuff. So like the archery seasons that I had wrote up for them as like an example, I used New Mexico's 2-week season and was like, hey, 2 weeks here, 2 weeks here, you issue 5 tags per zone, it's an extra 260 tags a year. We'll see how that goes. But now with the youth stuff, that's that's something.
That's an easy thing to get changed. Because you're literally, we don't let our kids hunt until they're 12. So you're literally only giving kids 3 years to be a youth in California. 3 years.
That's crazy.
You have 3 years to be a youth hunter. But hey, you can't drive a car yet, but now you're an adult. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? That's ridiculous. But
yeah, I'll talk with. So our lobbyist, that we work with is Bill Gaines.
Yeah.
You know Bill Gaines. Yeah, everybody does. So I'm actually going to bring that up with him after this podcast. I'll have a conversation with him. He's going to be on that meeting I'm on here in a minute, and I'll bring that up with him and be like, hey, Bill, we got to address this because kids, they're still a kid. They're not an adult until they're 18 years old. So, we got to get that change at least to 17 because I thought it was 17 for some reason, but obviously I'm wrong. So we got to get that changed.
Dude, run it till they're freaking. They could buy it when they're 17 and they turn 18 in June. Who cares?
Yeah.
As long as they're 17 on June 2nd when we do that damn draw,
Yep.
they could buy that youth tag. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
And another thing I want to bitch about while you're doing it, I know we got 11 minutes.
Huh?
I know you got 11 minutes
We're
to
good.
get off this thing.
Yeah.
If you're gonna talk to these guys, San Diego has a month-long season, deer season for rifle.
Yep.
And then we also have basically a 3-month archery season, whatever. I'm fine with that. We have some doe. We give out 300 doe tags, 3,000 tags in San Diego. Dude, let's break that up into 3 seasons. Let's break or 2 seasons, that rifle season into two 2-week seasons.
2 2-week seasons.
Or something like that. Why are we doing same thing? It's the same thing for D14 and all those other units. They're month-long seasons with thousands of tags.
Yep.
Why not? If you were to break it up to where it forced guys to get out, hey, we're gonna do 4 one-week seasons, whatever it is. Even 2 2-week seasons, it would, for one, lessen the pressure on the deer.
Yep.
It would force hunters to actually get out and hunt more. It's not go this week, go this week. Why are we running a 1-month season in San Diego with 3,000 tags? Why not do 5-day seasons or 7-day seasons?
That's a great question.
Why? I don't understand. We're the only state that does that. Why do we give out 3,000 tags for a month? Why not do 1,500 tags and 1,500 tags for this?
Yeah, and then you'd actually have less people afield each.
Yes, each time. You'd
each
have less
time?
people in there. Yeah. Yeah, it would be.
I never thought about that.
Dude, I need to be.
I
need to run for governor.
I always hunt archery tags. So I hunt A31 out of San Gabriel. So I'm hunting from the end of September to the end of December.
Yeah, I have an A22 tag this year. So I basically September 1st through December 31st.
Yep.
It shuts down during rifle season.
Yep.
It shuts down for a month and a half. But, dude, why?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Why have month-long seasons? Go look at the tags. Most of the hunts are a month long of the over-the-counter stuff, our D.
Yeah, except for, what's funny is the X zones are that way, though. The X zones are the way you're talking about.
Yeah.
They're shorter. You mean it's 2-3 weeks?
2 weeks.
3 weeks? Yeah.
But, I'm just saying in San Diego, for me personally, I would much rather see, and honestly, the tags don't sell out. I would be able to buy a tag in most seasons anyways.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? But, it would kind of force guys to,
actually pick some dates to hunt.
Pick some dates to hunt and get out there and do it, man.
And not just every weekend they're out there roaming around.
Do 3 10-day hunts. Whatever, man.
Yeah.
Do something like that. 3 10-day hunts would be wrecked, and you'd break the hunters down by a third out in the field pressuring things.
Yeah, because then you'd have to pick. You're picking what, you're picking your tag for your week or your 10 days or 2 weeks or whatever. That's a good idea. I like that. Because the elk, it's funny, the elk seasons are that way. They're not months long.
Yeah.
They're 10 days, 2 weeks. That's a good idea.
Yeah, our deer season runs from the 3rd Sunday, I think it's a 3rd Friday or Saturday in October. They run through the last weekend in November every year.
Oh yeah, it's funny is I don't really look at a lot of rifle seasons.
Yeah.
My son turns 12 this November, so I'll be paying attention to that soon. But being an archery guy, and I get an A31 and an AO tag every year. So I've never really looked at that, but I'm going to have to start looking at that. Yeah.
I just think it'd be better for our deer populations. When we're having 3,000 guys in the field, even though it is only, some years it's 10%, that's $300 getting killed out of San Diego.
Yeah.
And maybe the success rate goes up a little bit because we start getting more deer in the next couple of years. Maybe it's a better way to manage the deer rather than have everybody out there at one time trying to kill them for a month straight.
Yeah.
Give the deer a chance to live.
Even if you split it up and gave it like a couple-day gap. Right, I don't know how much hunting you did in 2020, but when everything was shut down, I'd go out in the woods because there was nobody out there recreating. There was deer everywhere. Their movements changed completely because of the lack of people, which is huge.
I just would like to see it, even if they cut the tags down to for me, I'm dude, cut the tags down to 2,000 and split it up into 2 seasons, and then give these deer a chance. We're never gonna have more than a 5% success rate if we're just hammering these deer for a month every year with 3,000 dudes. We'll just grow it. I know you San Diego guys who are listening to this are going to call me and text me and hammer me because you like to hunt deer. Shut up, man. We need to manage our animals better. We can't just freaking be out there hammering them. You know, and it would force you to. You'd probably kill more deer. You hardcore hunters, you'd be out there. You'd be forced to actually hunt it like an out-of-state hunt, where you had to spend 5 days in the field hunting instead of like every weekend. You know, or you know.
Well, you'd probably be killing bigger deer too, right? Because that's the thing is,
we'd actually be giving them.
We'd be giving them time to grow. You know what I mean? That's the thing is, you know, you give them time to grow versus just hammering them all the time. And that's the other thing, right? Is, you know, everybody sees the first legal deer they see, they shoot it.
Oh, 100%, dude.
Because there's so many people out
there. The first
there.
legal deer is getting shot, because if you don't shoot it, it's going to go over the hill and someone else is going to shoot it. Like,
exactly, yeah.
It's just how it works here, man. And then I use the excuse to be like, oh, it was my kid.
My son shot the baby buck.
I would. No, it's just how it is here. It's just really, you know. Like, we saw a 120 buck last year, and that was like the biggest buck. I mean, it probably been the biggest buck shot in San Diego. It's like 125.
That's a good.
And we couldn't get him to come off the land he was on, but it was a big buck, man.
Yeah, and you know, I will say some people kill some big bucks in San Diego, but you know, when I go out like turkey hunting and stuff in fall, and like run around up in Cuyamaca area, oh my God, there's so many people and driving around, and there's a lot of road hunters.
It's
crazy.
Unreal. Out there in like the Lagunas.
Yeah,
it's
the
like
Laguna.
World War III, dude. There's all archery hunters up there, but it's like, dude, it's like guerrilla warfare, burning each other's tree stands down and ripping down cameras and throwing people tree stands and just fighting each other and sitting up on top of each other. It's just, But dude, that's a fun pod, dude. I appreciate everything you guys are doing. What are you guys doing right now? How can we help you guys?
Yeah, so one big thing for us, you know, we're in every state. You know, we obviously are a member-based organization, so you know, go on the website, you know, look at an event near you, become a member. If you actually go to a banquet or an event and you buy a membership through an event, you'll actually get the invitation to that event for the next year or two, 3 years total. So become a member, support us. You know, in California, we've put over $87 million on the landscape in the state of California. You know, and then half of that, so that money is all the money we fundraise. So in the state of California, we've raised over $170 million. So half the money we raise comes back to the state in the form of grants. And, you know, like the Lemon Grove Rod and Gun Club, their youth shooting trap team this year, we gave them some money. Their Women on Target team got some money this year. We do projects, you know, throughout the state, like Camp Roberts got some guzzlers this year. You know, we're doing some fence projects up north, you know, so we're doing a lot of that stuff. So, you know, become a member of RMEF. Your money will be well spent. And then from there, come and attend a banquet. If you can't attend a banquet, become a volunteer. You know, go and help some of these dinner banquets and do some fundraising. Do that, and you know, we would love that. And from there, if you have anything, reach out to me. You can find me on the RMEF website. My contact information's on there. And then, from there, hopefully this next year we can work on getting some Tricer stuff at every banquet.
I've been a lot of banquets.
Yeah,
I've been a lot of. RMEF hits me up. We're in all kinds of banquets all over the place. We never turn them down. Let's put it that way. Yeah,
you guys hooked us up last year at San Diego and ended up putting tripod and stuff in the Yeti cooler, the mystery cooler, and the guy won. And he was like, "A Tricer tripod in here?" You know, and there was a Swaro ATC spotter in there, so we got a new spotter with the tripod and the LP head on there. He was pumped. He was excited. So
San Diego, people know us in San Diego for sure.
For sure. So thanks for having me on,
man.
I really
Brandon,
appreciate it.
Dude. Brandon Nelson, RMEF, support your local RMEF. Get out there and let's make these youth hunters be 18, dude. 17.
Let's do it.
All right, thanks, bro.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yeah.